Hello everyone, I am Shatrupa and today I have bought some data structure MCQs. So let's have a look what are the kind of questions that have a probability of coming in the online test, okay? So this is the first question which says that seven elements from A to G are pushed onto a stack in reverse order, that is starting from G. Alright, the stack is popped 5 times and each element is inserted into the queue. That means whatever element are popped from the stack, they are inserted into the queue. Two elements are deleted from the queue and pushed back onto the stack. Now one element is popped from the stack. So which is the last popped element? Okay, too many things. So first let's draw a stack. Okay. The elements are pushed in the stack in reverse order starting from G. So the first element is G, then F, then E, then D, then C, then B, and finally A. Okay, okay, like this: G, F, E, D, C, B, and A. So this is a stack. Now remember, a stack follows the concept of LIFO, that is last in, first out. That is what LIFO says. Okay. Now, what happens when we follow this process of LIFO? It says the last entered element will be first popped out. Okay, whenever the pop operation is done, the last inserted element will be first removed from the stack. So, last inserted element is A. So, A will be first popped out, followed by B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, like that way it will continue. But here it says the stack is popped 5 times. 5 times means 1 time, 2 times, 3, 4, and 5 times. Okay, so my stack still has F and G. Okay, so stack being popped 5 times means let's remove 5 elements B, C, D, and E. These are the 5 elements that are removed, and each element is inserted into a queue. Now this is inserted into a queue. Suppose this is a queue. Okay, so what is the first element in the queue? A. Why A is the first element? Because A was popped out first, so that must have been inserted first into the queue. Okay, then B was popped out, so that will be the second. Then C was popped out, that will be the third. Like that way, fourth will be D and fifth will be E. Okay, now it says that two elements are removed from the queue. Now whenever I perform this del Q operation, always remember it follows the concept of FIFO. Okay, what is FIFO? It says that first in, first out. Okay, that is FIFO. So first in will be first removed out. Okay, stack was just the opposite. Stack said no, whatever is last put inside, that will be removed out. But Q says no, who has come first, that person will be removed out. So first entry was A, so A will be removed out. And since two delete operations are to be performed, so the second one will be B. So A and B will be removed. Now it says that after deleting these are again pushed back onto the stack. Okay, push back means A was first removed out, so A will be first inserted, then B was removed, so B will be next inserted. So finally my stack will look something like this, that is B, A, F, and G. Okay. Now it says that one element is popped out. Now one element is popped out means from a stack it follows the concept of LIFO. Means the last in element will be first popped out. So B was last in, so B will be popped out. Now it says which is the last popped element. So it's simple, B is the last popped element. So answer is in option B, right? Answer is in option B, that is B. Okay, so B is the element that is last popped out. Always remember one thing, stack follows LIFO while Q follows FIFO. If you remember these two things, any question based on this pop and push from a stack and inserted into a queue, it will be easy to solve. Okay. Now moving on to the next question, it says if the sequence of operations are performed on a stack. So this is a sequence of operation that is performed in a stack. Okay. Now I will just change this question a little bit. After the second push to, we are going to have 3 pops. Okay. This is a question error. So it's going to have 3 pops. Okay. So once the sequence of operations are performed on a stack, the sequence of pop will be, okay, first let me write down the proper sequence. Okay, this one is push 1, then push 2, then it is having pop, then push 1, then push 2, then instead of 2 pops we are going to have 3 pops, okay, because it's not going to match the answer statement, else there's a little error in the question. Then push 2, then pop. Okay, this is the correct order. You please note it down that here there are 3 pops instead of 2. Okay, now let's do this. It says that it's on a stack again. So remember, stack follows LIFO. The last in will be first out. So it says push 1. Okay, then it says push 2. Then pop is performed. Last in was 2, so this will be popped out. Okay, 2. Then it says push 1. So this here only it will occupy. 1 will occupy where the last empty value or the space that will be filled by 1. Why? Because that is empty now. This 2 has been popped out. So instead of 2 again there will be 1. Then again it says push 2. Okay. Then it says pop. So this was the last inserted element. So this will be popped. Then it says again pop. So this is the last inserted element. So this will be popped. And again it says pop. So this is the last inserted element. So this will be popped. Okay, then it says push 2. Now the entire stack is empty. So your 2 will be placed over here. Okay, at the bottom. Now it again says pop. So again you are going to remove 2. Now the stack is completely empty. And this is the sequence of your pop. Okay, your sequence is 2 2 1 1 2. So that is in option A. Okay. So option A is the answer. So just correct the question that you have one additional pop over here, okay? Else your answer will not match the given options. But without this pop also you can still perform the stack operation. Doesn't matter. You will just not have this one in the output, okay? But according to the given options you need this pop, okay? So please make sure you change this, okay? So moving on to the next question. Says consider the following operation performed on a stack of size 5. Okay, these are certain operations that are performed on a stack of size 5. Which of the following statement is correct? Okay, so first let's perform the operation, then only we'll get to know which are the correct statements. So 5 means I'll require a size of 5. So let's create 5. So I think I've done it. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? Okay, yeah. So now it says that first push A. Okay, we'll push A. Then it says pop. So this A will be removed. Okay. Then it says push B. So B will be inserted here because the stack is entirely empty. So it will occupy the first empty space. Okay. So B will be inserted here. Then it says push C. Okay. Then it says pop. Okay. So C will be popped. Okay. Because that is the last inserted element. Then it says push D. Okay. This will be filled. Why? Because B is still there in the stack. So the C's position will be filled by D. Okay. Then it says pop. Okay. So D is popped. Why? Because that is the last inserted element. Then it again says that pop. Okay. Now B will be popped. Why? Because that is the last inserted element. And lastly it says push E. So E will be inserted. Now my stack only has the value E. Okay. There is nothing else in the stack. It just has E. And all other spaces are left blank. Okay, E is there in first position, second, third, fourth and fifth are left empty. Okay, so this is my sequence of pop. These elements will be popped out. So now which of the following statement is correct? Underflow occurs. No, there is no underflow. Stack operations are performed smoothly. Maybe we'll consider other option as well. Overflow occurs. No, overflow also doesn't occurs. So none can't be an option. So my answer is in option B. Okay, option B, that is stack operations are performed smoothly. So in a stack size of 5, I could perform all the sequence of operation that were given from push A to push E. Okay, so my answer is in option B, that is stack operations are performed smoothly. Alright. Now moving on to the next question, you see this is a little different kind of a question. Here you are given an encoded expression of the post order. Okay, and then it is asking that what are the labels on the node 1 to 7. Okay, just ignore this 2 at the end. So it's asking what are the labels on the node 1 to 7. Like what does A represent? Okay, because this is a numerical tree, it cannot have alphabets and operators, right? So it is asking what represent what, like what is represented by A, what is represented by B, what represented by C. Okay, and it says that it is a post order expression, so that is the most important clue. Okay, so my post expression is always the left child, the right child, and the root, right? Now it is saying the encoded expression is A, B minus C, D star and plus. Okay. So now my tree is something like this 2, 3, here it is 4 and 5, and here it is 6 and 7, right? So in order to find the post order, I need to start from the bottom of the tree, the lowest level of the tree, and go till the root, right? So let's just write down the post order. What it will be? It will be 4, then it will be 5, then it will be 2. Now this 2 has a another part, that is the right part. So now this right part, that is 3, it has some children, so it will again start from the lowest level. So it will be 6, then 7, then 3, and finally 1. Okay, now if you see, this is the left, this is the right, this is the root. Again this is left, this is right, and this is root. And if you consider here, this is left, 2 is left, 3 is right, and 1 is the root. Okay, so we have satisfied the post order expression condition, that is left, right, and root, right? So now this is our expression, this is the order or the sequence. Okay, now it is simple. Let me just write it here. Now this is simple. It's 4, 5, 2, 6, 7, 3, 1. Okay, now let's just write the given encoded expression below each number. Okay, now this is very simple. Whatever corresponds to whatever value, you're just going to write. 1 corresponds to plus, 2 corresponds to minus, 3 corresponds to star, 4 corresponds to A, 5 corresponds to B, 6 corresponds to C, and 7 corresponds to D, right? So this is the order. So whichever option has this answer, that is your answer. Okay, so it is something like this: plus, then minus, then star, then A, B, C, D. So I think this is there in option B, right? So option B is our answer. So any question that comes in this format where you have an encoded expression and the tree is given, your first job is to find whatever order it has said in the tree. Okay, if it is a post order, then find the post order. If it is a pre-order, then find the pre-order. If it is an in order, then find the in order. Okay, if you are able to do that, then simply place the given expression under each number. Okay, and whatever value corresponds to that number, that is your answer. Okay, here the answer is in option B, that is plus, minus, star, then A, B, C, and D. Okay, you have to write it serially, but you need to rearrange them. You have to write serially from node 1 to node 7. That is what it is asking. The labels on the node 1 to 7 will be. Okay, so it has to be in a serial order. Don't find out this jumbled way. Okay, you have to first serially write it down from 1, then 2, what is for 3, 4, like that way up to 7, and whatever is the corresponding value, that will be your answer. Okay, now moving on to the next question, that is convert the following infix expression into prefix expression. Okay, now see, the previous question you had a tree. Okay, but here you don't have any tree, so that means you don't have to decode this expression. You simply have to convert this expression into a prefix expression, or another way of representing the expression. Okay, now always remember to convert an infix into a prefix. You have to follow 3 steps. First step, reverse the infix. That is the first and the most important step. Second, convert the reverse. This reverse infix has to be converted into a postfix. Okay. Third, that's a very simple step, that convert or reverse the postfix. Okay, this postfix has to be reversed. Fine. These are the 3 basic steps that you need to follow. Alright. Now you see it says the given infix is A plus B star of C plus D. Now, if I follow the first step, that is reverse the given infix, then the value will become D, then plus, then C, then star, then B, then plus, then A. Okay. Now, of the given or this reverse infix, I have to find out the postfix. Okay. So, what will be the postfix? Postfix is all the alphabets together, then the operator. Then let's keep the star in between. Then again the same, all operands together and then the operator. Now you see there is an operator over here. Now I have to combine these two. Okay, that means I have to bring the postfix expression to the simplest form, after which it cannot be any further solved. Okay, so it will change to this. Okay, this star will come at the end. Okay, this is the postfix expression. Alright, now I have to perform the final step, that I have to reverse this postfix. So simply reverse, that is very simple. First star, then plus, then A, then B, then plus, then C and D. This is the most simplest thing. Okay, whatever expression you get, just write it in the reverse way as it is. Okay, so this is your reverse postfix. Now reverse postfix is equal to your prefix. Okay, reversed postfix is equal to your prefix. Alright, so your answer is in option C, that is star plus AB plus CD. This is your answer. So finally you have converted an infix into prefix. Okay, so I hope if you are given such question, it will be easy for you. You just have to remember these 3 steps. Remember, in the second step, if you get an expression that can be further simplified, just like the one I did, then you have to simplify the postfix and get it back into the simplest form. Simplest form means a form after which you cannot solve that any further. Okay, and then after that only you can convert the postfix into a prefix by reversing it. Okay. So moving on to the next question, it says which of the following relation is correct for a binary search tree? Okay. Now in a binary search tree or BST, remember there is just one relation which says that the parent node has to be greater than the left node. Okay. And the parent node has to be smaller than the right node. Okay, this is one thing that it is saying. Okay, this is the only relation that a binary search tree follows. So if I simplify this, I'll be getting something like this, that right node is greater than the parent node and parent node is greater than the left node. Okay, so this is my relationship in BST. So wherever this relationship is there, that is your answer. I suppose it is in option B. Okay, so option B is your answer. Moving on to the next question, it says evaluate the given postfix expression. So whenever it asks us to evaluate, it means you always have to consider a stack. All the values will be inserted in a stack and the operations will be performed. Okay, remember, whenever you are having a mixed expression of operands and operators, operands and operators, here operands are your numbers. Okay, that is 6, 5, 2, 3, 8, 3. These are all operands, while here the operators are plus and star. Okay, these are the operators. So whenever it is an operator, simply push it onto a stack. Okay, push in the stack. And if it is an operator, then pop last two elements, perform the operation, do the operation and insert the result, push the result back on the stack. Okay, so this is what we follow. If it is an operand, simply push the value into the stack. If it is an operator, then pop the last two elements, perform the operation with the given operator and then push the result back into the stack. Okay, so let's consider a stack over here. 6 is an operand, so push it into the stack. Then 5, it is an operand, then push it into the stack. Then 2 is an operand, so push it into the stack. Then again 3 is an operand, so push it into the stack. Okay, so it's something like this: 6, 5, 2, 3. Now there is an operator that is plus, so pop out two elements, so that is 3 plus 2, which value is 5, so push 5 back onto the stack. Okay, now there is another number that is 8, so 8 is an operand, so push it back into the stack. Then comes star, so pop out two elements, that is 8 star 5, which is equal to which is equal to 40. So push this 40 back into the stack, it will be here. Okay, now after star there is another number that is 3. Okay, so then after pushing this 3 there is another operator that is plus, so pop out two numbers, that is 3 and 40. So 3 and 40 will be on plus, so that will be 43. Now push 43 over here. Okay, you are having 43, you are having another operand that is star, so pop out two numbers, that is 43 and 5 will be popped out. So you have to do the multiplication. Whatever the value is, that will be your answer. Okay, I suppose there is something missing in this question. I'll cross check this question once again, but this is how you perform. Okay, whatever the operands are, you simply need to find out that and you need to execute it. Okay, so this value will be something say 215. Okay, and then there is one number being left over, so I think there will be another operand over here, so let's make it, there is a plus operand, so these two are popped out, so 125 will be inserted. So now there is again a plus operand, so 215 plus 6. Okay, whatever the value will be, so that will be the answer. Okay, but I think the answer option will not match because I've just taken an operand on my own, that is plus. So anyways, I'll just check with this question once again. But whenever you're given any postfix expression like this, or any expression where you need to find out or evaluate the value, always remember of considering a stack. If that is an operand, just simply enter it into the stack. If it is an operator, then make sure you pop out last two elements and perform that operation and insert that result into the stack. Okay, again the same thing will continue. Okay, so here I am going to just check out with this question what is the last operand that is needed, because there are only 4 operators, while their number is more, the operands are more. So I'll just check out with this question and I'll bring it back in the next video. Okay, until then just remember how you're going to solve this postfix expression. You're going to evaluate the postfix expression always in a stack. If it is an operand, push it into the stack. If it is an operator, then perform the operation by popping out the last two elements from the stack and getting the result pushed in back into the stack. Okay, just remember the concept and you'll be able to solve any expression that is given. Okay, so moving on to the next question, it says in an empty BST insert the following elements in a similar sequence. Which element will be at the lowest level? Okay, so in a BST, I just told you previously in this video that a BST follows a simple rule that a right child is greater than the parent child and parent child is greater than the left child. Okay, now it is saying that we have to first draw this BST of the given numbers that is there, that is 105, then 95, then 122, then 99, then 97 and 120. Okay, this is the order that is given. So we have to first draw the BST and after that we have to tell which element is at the lowest level. Okay, so since 105 is the first element, I'll consider 105 to be my root. Okay, Now let's check the next number, that is 95. So is 95 greater than or less than 105? 95 is not greater than, so 95 is less than 105. This is true. So 95 will come on the left hand side. Okay, why? Because the parent node is greater than the left node. Okay, next is 122. Now is 122 greater than 105? Yes, it is. So 122 will come on the right hand side of 105. Okay, now next number is 99. Okay, now say 99 whether it is greater than 105 or is it less than 105. 99 is less than 105, right? So this will come on the left side of the tree. Okay, now left side of the tree will have 99. Why 99 is the right child of 95? Because the right child is greater than the parent node. Okay, thereby 99 won't come on the left hand side of 95, it will come on the right hand side of the 95. Okay, the next one is 97. Now 97, is it less or greater than 105? It is less than 105, so it will come on the right hand side. Now you see 97 is greater than 95 and 99 is also greater than 95, right? So there can't be two right child of one number, okay, of one node. So what we'll do, we'll consider 97 to be the right child of 99. Okay, so 97 will be the right child of 99. Then it is 120. So now 120, is it greater than 105? Yes, it is. So it will come on the right hand side of the tree. So in right hand side we have 122. So is 120 less than 122? Yes, it is. So it is the left child of 120. So how is my tree? My tree is something like this: 105, then I'm having 95, then 122, then 99, then 97, and here I'm having 120. Okay, so this is the right child, this is the right child, this is the left child, this is the right child, this is the left child. Okay, so if you see, then in all the nodes the relationship, that is right child greater than parent node greater than left node, is followed. Okay, so the question is, which element will be at the lowest level? 97 is at the lowest level. How? These two are at the same level, 95 and 122. Then 99 and 120 are at one level, and 97 is at the lowest level. Okay, it's completely at the bottom. So here my answer is in option B, that is 97. Okay, so in order, whenever you are given such question where the BST is empty and you are given a set of number, make sure you first draw the BST by following this relationship where right child greater than parent child greater than left child. Once you are done with that, then you can answer whatever question is asked. Okay, like here it was asked what is the element at the lowest level, so that is 97. It can ask you that how many elements are there at the same level, so there are 4 elements at the same level. Okay, so like that way it can be any kind of question. So what is important is you need to draw this BST first. Okay, so moving on to these questions. Now from here, whatever question we are going to solve, these have come in Capgemini exams. Okay, so these are basically a pseudo code that Capgemini asks. Okay, so this one is quite simple one. Now you see it says there are integers a, b and c. A's value is set to 5 and b's value is set to 3. Now for each c from b to a. Okay, now what does this statement implies? This statement simply implies this condition that for c is equal to b, c less than equal to a, c plus plus. This is the meaning of the statement. Okay, now the condition says if a. Now anytime if it is written like this, a number is always true if the value is not equal to 0. So value of a is 5, so if becomes true if is executed. Now if says a is equal to a minus 1, so which is equal to 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. Okay, now and if, then it says if b Now b's value is 3. This is again not equal to 0. So b of 3 is again true. So b is equal to b minus 1, which is equal to 3 minus 1, whose value is 2. Okay. Now what will happen? It will again end the if. It will end if and go back to the for statement. Okay. Now here it will see that c's value. What is the value of c? The c's value is still at the c's value is still at sorry, wait, just okay, yeah. So this was my for condition, that b is c is equal to b and c less than equal to a, okay, and c plus plus. So if a is 5, which is true, a's value becomes decremented by 1, which is equal to 4, and if b's value is 3, so the b's value become equal to 2, right? It's decremented by 1. True. So now what will happen? The c value was first assigned to the value of b, that is 3. Okay. Now c's value will be checked whether c's value less than a. So 3 less than equal to 4, it's true. So what will happen? C plus plus. Now c's value will become 5. Okay. So now it will again enter the loop. It will say that if a of 4, now the a's value has changed to 4, so a of 4, so now a's value become 3. Now if b, so b's value is 2, the b's value has changed to 2, so it will perform this and b's value will be equal to 1. Now it will again go back to this for loop. It will check for c less than equal to a. Now the value of a is 3 while the value of b is 5. So is 5 less than equal to 3? No, this is false. So what will happen? This will end for as well. Okay. It will end for. So I hope I am clear with this. So after it ends for, it will enter the next statement, that is print a plus b. So the value of a is 3 and value of b is 1. So output will be 4. That is in option A. Okay, value of b is 1, value of a is 3. I'll just re-explain this. See, a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 3. Now this for each c from b to a is written as for c is equal to b, c less than equal to a, and c plus plus. This is the meaning of the statement. Okay. Now c is equal to b means the c value is also 3. Okay. Now if of a, right? If a means value of a is always true. The if statement is always true until and unless the value of a is 0. Okay. Here the value of a is 5. So this is true. It will execute the if, that is a is equal to a minus 1, where the value will become 4. Now and if after that again another if is there, if of b. So again b value is not 0, so it will perform if of 3, which is true. So b is equal to b minus 1, which is equal to 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. Okay, now and if. Now after this it will go back to this for statement. Okay, the value of c is 3. Now it will compare c less than equal to a. So 3 less than equal to a, that is 4. This is true. So what will happen? C value is incremented. C value becomes 5. So it will enter the loop. So if of a is 4, which is not 0. So it is again true. So a will be again decremented by 1, which will become 3. Now end of if. Now again if is there for b. So b of 2. Again 2 is not equal to 0. So this if will also be executed, b minus 1, which will be equal to 1. Okay. Now it will again go back to this for statement and it will check for c less than equal to a. Now c's value is 5. 5 less than equal to a's value is 3. Is this correct? No, this is not correct. So here the loop will terminate. The for will end, for loop will end. So end for will happen. Okay. And after that it will execute the last statement, that is print a plus b. So my final value of a was 3 and that of b was 1. So 3 plus 1, which is equal to 4. Okay. So my output is in option A, that is 4. Okay. This is how you're going to solve this. Always remember, when you have written for each C from B to A, always convert this in this way. If you convert this, it will be easy for you to solve. Okay. Moving on to the next question, it says that find the output where integer a comma b comma c and set the value of a to 20, b to 10 and c to 20. Okay. This is given. Now, okay, this is very simple. A is equal to a minus c. So, a's value is 20 minus 20. So, a's value becomes 0. Okay. Now, c is equal to c minus a. Okay. Now, what is the value of 20? C, it's 20. And what is the value of a? It is 0. Okay. So, 20 minus 0 is again 20. And finally, it says print b plus c. So, value of b has never been changed. So, it is 10 and value of c is 20. So, answer is 30. Okay, that is an option A. Okay, moving on, this is the last question. So, it says find the output. Okay, there are 4 integers a, b, c and s. Okay, so a's value is 16, b value 23 and c is 7. So, it says that S is equal to A plus B and A minus B or of A star C. Okay. So, this is the given statement. So, now we need to first execute this. Okay. So, if you execute this, it will be 16 plus 23 and 16 minus 23 or 16 star 7. Okay. So, 16 plus 23 is 39. This will be minus 7 or 122. Okay. So, now what we are going to do is we are going to solve this. How will you solve this? See, this is an AND operator, this is an OR operator. Always remember the precedence of AND is more than that of OR. Okay, precedence of AND operator is more than that of OR. So, first we are going to perform this, then we are going to perform this. Okay. So, 39 and of minus 7, always remember any two values other than 0, it will return true. And table will return true. Okay, because these are two numbers and there is nothing else given to it. So, whenever these two, there are only numbers other than 0, it will always return true. Okay, OR of 122. Now, see, if it is OR, remember the table. Let me draw the table once. This is 0, this is 0, this is 1. So, if both of them are not true, then only it is false. If one of them is true, then it will be true. Okay. So, here we have already found out that 1 is true. Then we need not check for the other number. So, it doesn't matter whether this is true or false in an OR table. So, the output will automatically be true. Now, S is equal to true. This implies S value is equal to 1. Okay, now if you check for the if condition, it says if S not equal to 0. Yes, true, 1 not equal to 0. So, it will print what? It will print S plus A minus B star C. Okay, so S is 1, this is 16 minus 23 into 7. Okay. Whatever your answer will be, that is the answer. Probably the answer is minus 144. That is in option C. Okay. You just need to remember one thing over here, that the precedence of AND operator is greater than the precedence of the OR operator. Okay. This is the OR table. This is the OR table and the AND table is something like this. This is the AND table. This is AND. Always remember in OR table it's false only when both are false. In all other cases it is true. while the opposite happens in the AND table. Okay, in AND table, if any one is false, then the output is false. Only when both are true, the output is true. Okay, so you just need to remember that, and always remember when there is a comparison and your output is true, like S we got as true, but the comparison was whether S is equal to 0 or not. Always convert this true value into into integer. Okay, so true value is always 1 and false value is always 0, so always convert this. Okay, so that is all for the day. Thank you.